so far we've discussed a situation where firms charge one price, where the monopolist charges one price to all of its customers. But what if firms could charge different prices to different customers? And you see lots of examples, and we'll talk about some of them here. You see lots of examples of this in the real world, right? So price discrimination refers to a situation where firms charge different prices for the same good. In other words, I'm charging a different price. I'm charging a different price to one customer or to another customer, or quantity discounts or something like that. But I'm selling the same good at different prices. If I'm going to price discriminate, there are some requirements. The first thing is that the firm has to have some market power, right? If I try to charge different prices, well, in a perfectly competitive world, I'll lose the customers I try to charge the higher price to. I must be able to prevent resale arbitrage. By this, what I mean is that if I'm selling in a high price in one market and a low price in the other market, then there has to be something to stop the consumers who can buy at the low price from simply turning around and selling to the other customers themselves, right? That's resale price arbitrage. And then finally, be able to separate customers by their willingness to pay. I need to figure out which ones are willing to pay a lot, which ones are willing to pay a little, and charge them differently somehow. So, a single price monopolist, we're going to compare the difference between a single price monopolist and a monopolist who can charge each customer what they're willing to pay, right? The demand curve here, with a little bit different graphical display, is the same demand curve that we saw in the table before, right? A single price monopolist will find the spot where marginal revenue equals marginal cost and charge up to the demand curve. In this case, the monopolist sells 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units at a price of $6. Right? A single price monopolist, find where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, charge the price that the market will bear, and that's your profit maximizing level of output. But stare at this for a second and look at unit number 6. If I wanted to go from Q equals 5, the fifth step in our demand curve, to unit number 6, there's a consumer out here who would be willing to pay $5 for it. The firm can produce it for 2. Marginal cost is 2. Right? There's $3 in social welfare that could be had by producing that unit. So suppose that the firm could find this guy out here who's willing to pay exactly $5 and charge them exactly $5. Right? Then that firm would collect $5 from this guy, incur $2 in costs, and increase its profits by $3. The firm will do that if they can still charge all the rest of the people back here some different price, some higher price. If they have to charge everybody the same price, right, if they have to charge everybody the same price, then they're not going to produce unit number 6. So there's somebody out here who would pay $5 for unit number 6. The firm can produce it for just $2. But the firm in a single price monopolist won't produce this because they want to keep prices high. If you could charge each consumer instead their reservation price, you could actually produce all the way out to here, all the way out to 6, 7, 8, all the way out to consumer number 8. Right? Now think about what marginal revenue is here. Remember the monopolist in all firms, when they want to maximize profits, they want to produce as long as the marginal revenue from one more unit exceeds the marginal cost of producing that unit. As long as that's true, you keep producing. Right? In a world where you can charge each consumer exactly what you're willing to pay, 10, 9, 8, 7, and so on down the line, your marginal revenue is equal to the price that you charge each consumer. In this case, the firm produces all the way out here to where marginal revenue equals marginal cost and produces then 8 units. So their total revenue, they get $10 from this guy, 9 from this guy, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. They don't produce unit number 9 or unit number 10. So add this up, add what they collect, and they collect $52 in revenue instead of 30. So in this case, if the firm can charge each consumer different amounts, then they can collect more revenue and actually produce more units. Okay. There are different types of price discrimination. The kind we just described is called first-degree price discrimination, where you charge each consumer as much as they are willing to pay. 2 examples of this in practice. Car dealerships try very hard to do this, right? Car dealerships spend time with each consumer trying to figure out exactly how much they can squeeze out of them, right? They try to figure out exactly what your marginal willingness to pay is for that, and they negotiate very hard in terms of trying to figure that out, right? They work very hard to try and squeeze every last dollar out of everybody who comes in to buy a car. Other examples are student financial aid packages. There are a lot of universities where, Northeastern included, where students fill out a FAFSA form, the Federal Application for Financial Student Aid. And what the FAFSA form tells the students, tells the universities, is exactly how much the students are able to pay. You collect a lot of financial information, and then they tailor a financial aid package that is customized for each student between loans, grants, and other things. And so essentially the price of tuition charged to each student after you net out financial aid varies quite a bit, varies a lot from student to student, and the goal is to get each student to contribute as much as they are able and willing to pay, and have loans and grants make up the difference. Alternative kinds of price discrimination are a little bit less, perhaps less effective or less extreme than perfect price discrimination, which is very hard to do in practice. But for instance, second-degree price discrimination involves the charging of different prices for different quantities purchased. You think about buying jumbo-sized boxes or shopping at Costco is one form of second-degree price discrimination. More on Costco in a second. Third-degree price discrimination involves different prices to different groups of customers. Need to identify groups with different demand elasticities. You have to figure out which customers are going to drop out if I raise my price a little bit, and which customers are going to stay in if I raise my price a little bit. Airlines are very, very good at this. The variation in the prices that people pay on a particular flight is very, very wide. Other examples are, say, senior discounts or Ladies' Day, where there are certain groups, cutting coupons is much the same way too. People who have time to, who take the time to cut coupons are likely the people who are going to take the time to shop to find the best deal. If you're not clipping coupons, you're probably not shopping around very much either, and so those consumers who don't clip coupons are likely to wind up paying higher prices. Then lastly, two-part tariffs. Two-part tariffs charge an entry fee and then a low price. This is another form of price discrimination. Costco is an example of this. You charge consumers an entry fee that represents a big chunk of their consumer surplus, and then you charge them pretty close to marginal cost like a competitor does. A note about price discrimination and economic efficiency. The first thing that's perhaps counterintuitive is that a monopolist will actually increase economic efficiency. A monopolist who price discriminates will actually increase economic efficiency, right? Remember, the old monopolists stopped here, right? Stop marginal revenue equals marginal cost, price up to the demand curve. But the price discriminator doesn't lower price for everyone. They still try to get these guys up at the high price. But then they offer a lower price for coupon clippers and senior citizens, for instance, that finds a way to charge the lower demand customers the lower price. Right? They don't lower price for all of the consumers. They lower the price just for some of the low value customers, the ones who have relatively low willingness to pay.